All right, so another incredible night of basketball. It feels like every single night I'm calling these games a classic. And I don't know if we're going to remember all of these playoff games, but I feel like we'll remember the 2024 NBA playoff season as one of the greatest few months of basketball that we've ever seen. That's certainly what it's been for me so far. It has been amazing. Now, this game between the Mavericks and Minnesota Timberwolves was extremely competitive and back and forth. Mavs ultimately take the victory, stealing home court advantage, winning the game 108-105. And I'll tell you what, Minnesota might be the deeper team. I feel like they're the deeper team, and I still like their chances to win this series considering their overall depth. If they're going to lose, I think they're going to lose because of one guy, and that's Luka Dončić. Luka Dončić is insane, man, and I haven't been singing his praises enough lately. I did during the regular season. I literally made a video saying he's the reason I love basketball, the way he plays the game. And although I love the way he plays the game, I'm singing his praises in these playoffs for a different reason. Luka showed some crazy toughness, and he's been showing it for a little bit, but these knee issues are insane. I'm genuinely worried about him. I understand having knee problems. I had some knee issues when I was just playing basketball growing up, and I know a lot of you guys have as well. But to have knee pain that's so intense to where you're bleeding through both of his knee pads, like what the hell is going on with his knees internally to where he's bleeding through both of his knee pads? That is insane. I understand just getting scuffed up or, getting on the floor and like scraping your knees a little bit, but I don't think it's that. And so just the optics of that, while his knees are covered in blood, he's hitting big shot after big shot down the stretch and is leading his team to victory with 33 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds, and 3 steals. This alone is a legendary performance. But if he can manage to lead the Dallas Mavericks, who are major underdogs in this series, if he can manage to lead them to the championship under these conditions with that optics, I mean, look at Curt Schilling in baseball. I know a lot of people here aren't going to be familiar with baseball, but essentially Curt Schilling helped his team win the World Series as a pitcher, and he was bleeding through his sock. And that got immortalized to such an extent that they put the bloody sock in the Hall of Fame. If Luka is able to do this with both knees covered in blood, it's just next level legendary, man. Like what he's doing is incredible. And it's not just against a regular defense. It's against the best defense in the NBA with guys like Jaden McDaniels and Anthony Edwards just smothering him. And he's still finishing out the game strong. And he's the reason they're winning. Now, although Luka finished the job, the guy who started it was Kyrie Irving. And let me tell you guys, he looked extremely motivated after Anthony Edwards said he was basically going to lock him up, that he was his assignment and he was going to handle him. And Kyrie came out firing. He was on fire in the beginning. And I remember Stu Lance, who's a Lakers local broadcaster, and he had a saying that great offense beats great defense. And it makes sense why he would say that, because he watched Kobe Bryant play for 20 years. Like when a guy is so skilled and a guy is so good, there are just certain times where you just can't stop him from scoring. And that was Kyrie Irving. That is Kyrie Irving. When he's going, you can't stop him. Now, what did confuse me a little bit is Kyrie took his foot off the gas a little bit in the second half, and I was hoping he'd stay aggressive. It looked like he was fueled by that motivation to attack Anthony Edwards in the first half, but maybe that fire, maybe that motivation wore off a little bit in the second half, which I don't think should have been the case, especially consider the fact that Ant looked gassed. Just looked absolutely gassed in the second half, and I'll touch on that more in a bit. But Kyrie did his thing, and hey, if he's going to start the games hot and Luka's going to finish the games hot, Dallas is probably going to be fine. But it took a great game from both of their stars, so we'll see if they're able to maintain this. I think with Luka's knees, I think with as good as performances as they both put up, it's going to be hard to do this consistently. But they have home court advantage now, so we'll see what happens. Jaden McDaniels was the leading scorer for the Minnesota Timberwolves, and if he's going to be your leading scorer, I think that's going to be bad news for that team. He does remain one of the X factors for them, as he's an incredible three-point shooter. He was absolutely excellent to start this game, and obviously we all know about his impact defensively. But Anthony Edwards has been slowing down in recent games, and he's getting killed for it. I mean, he was 6 of 24 in the last game. And although he nearly put up a triple-double in this contest, he was only 6 of 16 from the field. And another thing about Edwards is this guy has got to work on his conditioning in the offseason. This was like the 4th time this playoffs where he looked completely gassed. And don't get me wrong, I get it. I 100% get it. He's guarding Kyrie Irving, and a motivated Kyrie Irving who's making him work defensively. Anthony Edwards is one of the best two-way players in the entire league, so he's expending a lot of energy on defense. He's expending a lot of energy on offense. I get that. But in the 4th quarter, when there was a little over 2 minutes left, he's not even in the play for Minnesota. They're trying to score. They're down by a couple points, and he's still in the backcourt. You can't have that from your leading superstar shooting guard. You just can't. And the very next play, he did it again. He was completely absent in the most important minutes of the game simply because he didn't have anything left. And I'm telling you, it's been like 4 or 5 times in these playoffs that I've seen he just doesn't have anything. So maybe it's a little bit on Finch, to make the right rotations and to give him just even more minutes on the bench so that Edwards is available when he's needed the most, so that he has energy when the game is in its closing moments. But I'll tell you what, that is a bad look for your superstar player. And as much as I understand the responsibility that he has as an elite two-way player, if you look at the great ones, the great shooting guards, they were able to be elite, both offensively and defensively, when it mattered most. And so for this 22-year-old kid, he's really got to focus on that. I don't care if they win the championship or if they lose here in the conference finals. I don't care. Look at these games where he was absent in the 4th quarter and say, I got to work on my conditioning, man. I got to build my endurance. Now listen, as I said before, I do believe Minnesota is the deeper team. But the way the Mavericks won tonight, and if they're going to win this series, they got to do it a couple ways. 1, Luka's got to be Luka, bloody knees or not. He's got to be performing at that superstar level. 2, they just got to simply outwork the Minnesota Timberwolves, and they did that tonight. They won the rebounding department 48-40. They won in block shots 8-3, and they destroyed Minnesota in points in the paint 62-38. They simply outworked and out-hustled the Timberwolves. They looked like they wanted it more, and if they can maintain this, they can make up for that lack of depth. So what do you guys think? Are the Timberwolves in trouble? Who wins, and how many games do you think it'll take? I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments section below. Thanks for watching as always. Make sure to like and subscribe for more basketball content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.